G'day guys, welcome back to another review on the channel, and today I'll be reviewing Big Scare in The Big Easy, and yeah, let's jump straight into it. So yeah, like I said earlier, I'll be reviewing The Big Scare in The Big Easy, and that's the 4th episode of the first season of What's New Scooby-Doo. And yeah, this was a really exciting one, as most people probably would predict for this one, because yeah, I feel like it's pretty popular, and yeah, I really enjoy it as well. That's for sure. Basically, it's set in New Orleans and all that, and yeah, the gang are visiting for their Mardi Gras and whatever, and yeah, like a big party and all that, which was like really cool. And yeah, they did a whole bunch of cool stuff at the start of the episode to do with that. And yeah, in this one we get really cool villains, the ghost of the Leland brothers. And yeah, they were like Civil War. Like there's a story about how they became ghosts is like so terrifying. Like like they were like on the opposite side of each other in civil wars, and they were enemies. And they had like a big showdown during the like in the graveyard, and they always continue to fight there every night as ghosts, and it's like really creepy. And yeah, this is Jed and Caleb Leland, or if you want to call them as their like proper names, it's like Rebel Caleb and Union Jed, or whatever. And I'm pretty sure that's right. And yeah, and they're like ghost zombies in this one, and it's really cool and creepy and all that. And yeah, my ranking for this one, I want to give it a 9 out of 10, which is pretty good. The most I've given an episode so far from What's New Scooby-Doo. Again, I still feel that there was a bit of a script and story that they had to go for in this one. I feel like if this episode was later on in season 3, it could have been spectacular. But because it was an earlier episode, there are a few moments that didn't quite go right with me. The mystery for majority of the time was pretty entertaining, but there were times where it was lacking a little bit, like in most mysteries of the first season of What's New Scooby-Doo. And yeah, this one was certainly one of those as well. But don't get me wrong, the Leland brothers and all the characters, the spooky location of the cemetery, as well as one of the characters' water park mixed with like the hotel that the gang stay at, and even the Mardi Gras parade at the start and at the end of the episode. It was all just perfect, really. It's just the only problem for me in this one was the mystery, and that's what happens in season one. For me, for What's New Scooby Doo, there is for season one there is like no perfect episode, which is it's a pity. This one could have been really really good, but don't get me wrong, I still love it for all the right reasons, and yeah, maybe I just feel like that they maybe did it too early, but you can see why they did it early. This is an episode that you want early on as well, like for people getting hyped about the series. And yeah, this one, was a pretty special one, that's for sure. I definitely feel very very spooky, very creepy. Great spooky locations, very different to the first three. And yeah, just some fantastic scenes as well. In this episode, we got the introduction to Shaggy's five skull fire source, which we see another time, and in What's New Scooby Doo in a season 2 episode as well. I feel like that's pretty classic, along with the hot sauce from Be Cool Scooby Doo, one of those episodes, So I thought that was kind of cool, and I thought I'd maybe mention that and throw that in there. Like I said moments ago, all the characters in this one were really, really memorable. You've got the Leland brother and sister who are like related to Jed and Caleb, and Lorelai and Taylor, and they were both really memorable characters in my opinion. But yeah, I can see how people could go either way with them, like a bit of a 50-50 for like people, but I like them. And I also really like Cyrus T. Buford, who is the owner of the water park that I mentioned earlier, and he's one of the main suspects, along with Taylor and Lorelai as well. And then you've also got Crawdad Mike and his bus driver, which that they appear a couple times throughout the episode as well. Once saving the gang when they first met the ghosts, and the second they helped them out with one of the clues, some ectoplasm and gunk that Daphne found on her shoe. Moving on then to the chase song. Really, really exciting. Absolutely loved the chase song for this one, and it's pretty great, that's for sure. It's called The Man with the Hex, all about voodoo and all that. It was absolutely fantastic. Probably my favourite from season 1, that's for sure, and so much happened in it. You got Daphne on the wave pool simulator, the surfing simulator with one of the ghosts, and we get all these cool action scenes where it's just the gang running from the ghosts all around the water park, and we didn't get any other time with the water park in this episode, and I feel like that introduction was absolutely fantastic, and they just put it in there as a bit of a different setting, because I feel like a chase song in the cemetery would take away the spookiness, but having a fun, like really cool voodoo song in a water park, I thought was kind of better. Especially seeming it's not like your usual voodoo song. It's like a really upbeat, really cool party time type song. In my opinion, and absolutely love it. And yeah, well, in this episode, it wouldn't be an amazing episode, would it, without Daphne being kidnapped, as she often did in like the original series. So I loved how they throw that in there, and yeah, it was really, really cool to see Shaggy and Scooby have a really big moment in the episode. Shaggy figured out, oh, what if we ring Daphne, and they quickly found her and saved her, which was really cool. And I thought was just fantastic. And yeah, I just wanted to mention that. Also, there was another setting midway through the episode which I wanted to touch on for a few reasons. It was the voodoo store that Lorelai went to. Now, when I saw this, I thought, oh, she's like evil, maybe with Taylor, because I originally did not suspect Crawdad Mike and the bus driver, because spoiler alert, they are the two brothers, Taylor and Lorelai were the two that I predicted when I first watched this episode, maybe in 2019, 2020, 2019, I think. I just wanted to point that out because that's back-to-back episodes now where the first time I can remember, the first time watching those episodes, I failed to get the suspect, which doesn't happen too often. So I just wanted to mention that, and I thought that was pretty crazy. But yeah, anyways, it was Crawdad Mike and his bus driver. Now, their scheme was that they basically did it to for the publicity and make a busload of cash. Bringing a bus. Because their bus, like, it's their job, the bus tour and all that, about the Leland cemetery and all that, and bringing them to where the ghosts were, and everyone just abandoning that and making all this money. With the ghosts being there, people are going to want to see it. So for like all the tourists and all that, so they could easily make a whole bunch of money. And I feel like it was a bit different, a bit unique as well. Not that great, to be honest. But the thing that kind of saves it from being, disappointing, and I don't really feel like the plot drops points because of the clues that the gang found. One of the clues, was the ectoplasm, and the gunk that Daphne found on her shoe, which is like the special mud only found in that type of cemetery. And then you also got the rock that Fred accidentally sat on that shed out a whole bunch of lights, which was the holograms of the fake ghosts, which is what they used when they were inside the bus, so that it was actually just holograms and all that for some of them, which was really, really cool, I thought. Lorelai obviously was, in there, doing some like voodoo stuff, because she wanted a good luck talisman, and she was also looking for a costume for Scooby because Scooby's costume got ruined in the opening part of the episode. I was kind of disappointed that I didn't get this one correct, to be honest. As Velma says in one of the later episodes in Season 2, this one shouldn't count. But, it does count. I'm a bit frustrated about how I got this one wrong, because I feel like these two, in a way, there was no... I guess what I'm trying to say is the clue that Fred found, which I absolutely love, when he sits down on the rock and, all those colours projected. We didn't see the hologram ghosts. If I knew that, then I probably would have suspected someone else. But, yeah, you feel like you would have seen the hologram ghosts when Fred sat on the rock to activate it. Because apparently the bus driver always, he pulls on the side of the road for some weird reason and then hits the rock, and then all of a sudden the ghosts appear every single time.
What's going on?
I think this duel has come to an end.
I'll bet Taylor is behind this.
With Cyrus T. Buford?
But there's still one more suspect.
Crawdad Mike!
And his driver, who helped him steer a high-speed scare. So why were you going into that supernatural shop, Lorelai? I was looking for a talisman to keep the evil spirits away, and a ghastly mask for Scooby's costume.
Oh, thanks. And Taylor, if you weren't playing Ghost, why were you sneaking around with that Confederate soldier's costume?
It was an old family heirloom. I had to sell it to help pay the bills. I snuck out at night because I didn't want Lorelai to know.
But I still can't figure out what the heck was going on. They're back!
Calm down, you two. You were just watching a hologram projected from that treetop. It's set off by pressure on this rock. Each time the tour bus pulled off the road, the driver used dry ice to make a perfect background mist for projecting ghosts. Dry ice fog leaves a residue. That's the gunk I found on my shoe. Crawdad Mike had a smooth operation going, frightening the tourists with his ghosts and making a busload of cash.
He got worried when we came close to exposing him. That's when he and his driver dressed up as the Ghost Brothers and kidnapped Daphne to scare us away.
Sacre bleu! I would have gone away with it too, if it were for y'all meddling kids.
I wonder how you say meddling kids in French.
So, yeah, I don't know. I wasn't the biggest fan of the plot for mine in this one, but I think it doesn't really lose points for me just because of this one being like spooky and all that, and it's got all creepy and vibes and all that, and yeah, a bit of nostalgia towards it as well, just because I always. When I first originally watched the new Scooby-Doo, there was always, a couple of episodes that, I wish I could watch them, back when, you could only basically watch new Scooby-Doo or some Scooby-Doo episodes in particular on DVD, and I didn't have this one on DVD, and, when I originally saw it in 2019, I was like, oh yes, finally, because I'd heard so much good things about so many What's New Scooby-Doo episodes, and especially this one, and I was so excited for it. Didn't let me down, sort of, which is interesting, but I've just got nostalgia to love it, so I kind of feel like it should be lower, but it's not, in a way, if that makes sense. I've rambled on it for a bit in this one. It's a banger of an episode. Highly recommend it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my review, and I'll see you guys next week.
Sorry, Lorelai. I was just tidying up the rooms.
Oh, nice work.